Welcome to Vermont's Voice, your source for the public interest conversation in the State House and beyond. I'm your host, Elijah Kushen, filling in today for Jordan Heiden, who will actually be my guest. She's here to talk about our exciting new campaign, Democracy Summer. This is the last episode of our season, so tune in, it's going to be a good one. This is Vermont's Voice. Hey, Jordan.
Howdy, Eli.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. How about you?
It feels a little weird because usually I'm sitting all the way back there and you're sitting here and we've got somebody else sitting where you are. So
this is true.
Things are a little different today because not only is Jordan the wonderful host of the Vermont's Voice podcast, but she is also the campaign director for a very exciting campaign that you may have heard about called Democracy Summer. So we're going to jump right into it. Jordan, tell me about Democracy Summer.
I would love to. Okay, so Democracy Summer is really our opportunity to meet this moment in our country's history. So what does that mean? We know lots of individuals are feeling really disempowered and really unhappy with the political process as it stands, just based off of this sort of onslaught of action taking place with the federal administration, right? So we're seeing attacks and threats against our rights, our democracy, our communities, and our country.
These are really some troubling times we're in right now.
Yeah, extremely troubling. So this campaign really serves as an opportunity to fight against that and to respond to that. And so the way that we plan to do that and have been doing that so far is through grassroots operations and grassroots engagement, community organizing, digital organizing, events, trainings, really you name it. Come this fall, we're going to be working on voter engagement and registration. So lots of opportunities for folks to pitch in, to tap in, to get involved. There's really a place for everybody within this movement. And I'm using that word movement pretty intentionally because this is much more a movement building campaign than what VPIRG maybe traditionally has done. Maybe a little bit with the Keep Vermont Cool campaign, but this is not currently connected to or tied to a particular policy. Maybe that will come down the road. But for right now, we're focused on mobilizing folks.
Something that you said that I love is the word grassroots, because that's what VPIRG is all about. That's kind of our bread and butter is grassroots organizing.
Yeah.
And actually, a couple of weeks ago, for Good Trouble Day, you and I went down to Woodstock, Vermont, where they've had the longest running grassroots protest of the current administration's policies. At the time, it was day 167. And we actually talked to some of the organizers there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the stuff we heard there really embodies what Democracy Summer is all about. So I'd suggest we go revisit that, take a look, and then we'll discuss it.
I would love that. Let's do it.
Fabulous.
Okay.
We're here in Woodstock, Vermont, Tribute Park, day 167 of the resistance here. And you too can be a part of it. Come anytime, you're invited. Hi, I'm Courtney Hollingsworth.
Al Alessi. We're at Tribute Park, which, by the way, if you aim that way, go ahead, turn around. See that statue? This park is dedicated to people that fought for freedom and against slavery and for our democracy and our Constitution. So I'm particularly proud that we're at this park every day.
There was a woman in our community, Linda, and when she has family who worked for USAID, and when that executive order came out to cancel that, she just felt, I have to do something. I mean, I think we all were feeling this, what can we do? And so she came out here to the park by herself with a sign that said USAID. And people saw her out there, and they said, we want to do something too. So the next day there was 3, and a few days later there was 5.
Bob and I are here maybe 5 days a week. Right. I would say that categorize us as a regular. And it's something. You got to do something. It's a democracy. You got to be active.
I think when Al came out here and he stood all alone, we all drove by and saw him standing there. And I just thought, wait, he can't be there by himself. I don't know who he is, but he believes in justice, and I'll go stand with him. And that's why all of us stand here.
Quite a few of us that are here almost every single day. It rotates a little bit, but generally 10 to 35 people
Wow.
every single day.
And how are you continuing to sustain this movement day after day, getting folks to continue to show up?
I think actually the showing up with others is what sustains us through the horrors of this. I think it is the showing up that gives us the energy, actually the peace of mind, but it's the action that, as Joan Baez says, action is the antidote to despair. And I think we all feel if we stayed home and did nothing, it would be overwhelming. And having this place to come every day something is terrible in the news, you can be out here and you can make a sign, you can stand with your body, you can embody your rage, your resistance, you can speak out and say no, and you can come and talk about it with others. And it feels like, that the hardness of the moment when shared is lessened. Like we find that we gain so much strength in being together that it actually, we kind of call it group therapy sometimes, but it is that people power that helps us go through this even more.
We make lemonade out of lemons. By the time we leave, it's been a good day.
It makes me feel better. I'm selfish. I come here because it makes me feel better. Community is really important. Community rises to a crisis. And it's exquisite when you see everybody coming together when we're all hurting and in pain.
Today we are joining in on the national invitation to make good trouble and to celebrate the legacy of John Lewis and what the civil rights movement was all about, and in doing peaceful protests and non-violent civil disobedience, and how it's mandated. Like we as the people must act in these ways when our government is not following the laws. Like it's our responsibility, and so we have that impressive leadership before us to learn from and to emulate and to be inspired by, and to find the way that we can in this moment respond like they did.
It's not an overnight strategy,
Right.
though we're building that energy for the next election and so forth. But we're here now, and they're doing awful things.
Silence is complicity, and I don't think any of us want to not speak up and speak out against the atrocities we're seeing, and also to speak into hope of what we want our country to be and become. So as much as we're against hate, we are for love, and we are for an America that represents all of us, and where all of us have the rights and dignities and freedoms that we think we know we deserve.
As prescribed in the Constitution.
I think Mark Twain put it very well. He said that patriotism is loving your country always, and its government when it deserves it. We support the Constitution, the rule of law, due process, all of the above.
I think we just want an America that actually follows the Constitution. Like that would be nice.
That would be that.
That's all we're asking.
I would take that.
One phrase I heard that I really liked was, we have this checks and balances of government, but when those checks and balances fail, we are the fourth branch. And it is important that we hold the line. Like we, the people, are the line. And so it feels really meaningful to be out here and say, we're not only here standing for our right to protest and for our right to free speech, but we are using them because we must hold the line and demand that our leaders follow the law. So we can't give an inch. No, sorry. So
It's not right versus left. I don't want this to be policy. There is plenty of policies to debate.
Yeah.
And you and I agree on whatever percent, but I'm sure there's things we don't.
Right.
But it's not that. Yeah. It's right versus wrong.
What would you say to your neighbors who may not have attended one of these events yet?
Sometimes we feel like what we do won't make a difference, but we're all a drop in the bucket. And as we add all of those drops together, we are going to overflow and fill this place with, the justice we are looking for. So everything we do matters, even if it feels small. So do it, even when it feels small, because when we join it together, we are part of something bigger and something that is going to be better for America. We can make change happen right here in our communities. We can make life better for each other. We can help educate each other. We can support each other's needs. This mutual aid, we can start this now. We can become the change we want to see right here at home, and we can hope that that would span out to the greater scale. But we don't have to wait for the federal government to approval and permission to go feed our neighbor, to go look at our neighbor who is afraid, to take care of the needs right down our street. We can do that now and in practical and real ways. Even when you're coming out to protest and helping lift someone's spirit so they can get through the next day, it all matters. And community is the change maker, absolutely. And we feel that, we get to experience that every day.
What would you say to Vermonters and Americans at large who may have voted for the current president but may be deeply uncomfortable with his policies now?
It's not too late to change your mind, you know, and it's okay. Real. It's okay to say you made a mistake. It's okay to say that's not what you wanted, and it's okay to join us, you know. What I appreciate, our brave little state says no to hate. Our brave little state will continue to stand up for the freedoms and liberties of America, and if nowhere else, Vermont is going to hold it.
And we don't have any budget. There's no dollars here. There's nothing we need, you know, so.
I think we just need your passion and, you know, you speaking up, right? We just, wherever you are, in whatever way that makes sense to you, to speak up, to do something. There is the website uvriseup.org, which covers a lot of the Upper Valley happening. So there are protests happening in Hanover and Lebanon and Norwich and all over the Upper Valley. And if you want to find out other things that are happening, we just need you to speak up. We just need you to do something, to believe that what you do matters. So and join us from wherever you are.
I mean, that's a role that we've played, is to help organize, to get people to a larger event somewhere else. But it's not, there's no special objective for us being the biggest, baddest protest, you know, right? It's not that.
We're happy to be our local, humble protest.
Wow.
That's good.
That was great. I'd honestly forgotten a lot of how wonderful it was to be there in that moment. And it was really nice just reliving it.
I know. Yeah. It feels like it was a while ago. I don't know.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, as of time of filming.
Still relevant, though.
Yeah. But like something I was struck by throughout that whole thing is how positive everybody was. It like ultimately we're trying to send a message of hope, or they were trying to send a message of hope. I think they succeeded in that. Mm-hmm. And Democracy Summer as well is all about the positivity in the face of all this negativity. Like if you look behind us, we've got our little campaign slogan, and it's about embracing unity and rejecting oligarchy. And I think the embracing unity and community aspect is really important. And I think that really shone through from the Woodstock rally.
I also think it's what sustains the movement too, right? Mm-hmm. You need to find the hope and the joy and the community in this work, or you're going to burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. So I think they have found the secret recipe to getting out there every single day. I know that some of them said they go out twice a day sometimes. So they are consistent and capable, and I think it's for a reason. It's because of these affirmations of hope and their ability to find the positive, and that's hard to do. That can be hard to do. So I commend them for that. Yeah, no, I really loved that quote that action is the antidote to despair. Yeah. And like, not only just for the people we're talking to, but like for us too. I remember when we were, in the early stages of planning this campaign, and right after the election, the vibes were bad. Like we did not, we felt really hopeless. And in those moments, just doing something seems like one of the best things to counter that. Yeah, I remember the day after the election, we all went to the office together and we sat in a circle and we cried. Yeah, that was a dark day. It was a dark day, but it motivated us to do something different and to try something new. And that's what brought us here. For sure. Yeah, no, the Democracy Summer campaign is just so uplifting. And it's really what keeps me going day to day. That's what keeps me coming back to work with energy and like wanting to keep doing this with this constant barrage of negative headlines and just horrible things happening in this country. But we can make a difference. And I think it was really poignant what Leslie was saying and what others were saying is that, like, showing up and doing something with community, it is almost like group therapy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I also liked what Leslie said about the individual that she saw. She says, he believes in justice, so I'll go stand with him. Mm-hmm. So she just saw this one person standing out with a sign and said, I want to get involved with that. And there sprung this new community, right?
Yeah.
And they've been doing it every day since. I think that's really incredible.
Yeah, no, the persistence of this group is really amazing. And I think it really speaks to a core tenet of our campaign, which is other than all the horrible things happening, the biggest enemy right now is apathy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure you folks at home too, you're bombarded constantly with bad news and you can become numb to it.
Yeah.
And you can just let it wash over you and say, oh, I don't care, or what can I do? What can Vermont do? We're this little state. But you can do something. And other people seeing you do something has a huge impact. You can inspire other people by going out there with a sign, standing all alone like Al. Mm-hmm. And yeah, starts with a drop, but eventually the bucket overflows.
And there were some great signs.
There were some great
signs. I love
signs.
Getting to rewatch that as well.
Yeah. I think like the last thing that I'd want to talk about from that video was the Mark Twain quote, that patriotism is loving your country all the time and loving the government when it deserves it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I really like. I would love for the other side to understand that this movement is not about, hating America or wanting to say down with the United States. I think one of the most patriotic things you can do is love your country and point out when it's wrong. And, we want it to be better. We want the U.S. to live up to these lofty ideals, and to, as Courtney said, just follow the Constitution.
Right. Seems fairly straightforward. I think we can do it.
I certainly hope so. So I want to talk a little bit more now about the democracy summer side of things. Like, why is VPIRG the outlet for all of this to happen?
Why not VPIRG? Well, okay. So for one, I think democracy has been a core pillar of our work since 1972, right? So it makes sense that we would continue to work on democracy issues even now. But I think if you even were to take democracy out of it, pretty much every program area that VPIRG is focused on is under attack right now, right? So we have a need to respond to what's happening. It's not just democracy, but it is also democracy. It's consumer protection. It's environmental health. It is climate and energy. You name it. Everything we've ever worked on is under threat. Not to be dark, but we do need to respond to that.
Absolutely.
At the same time, I feel like we are also obligated to respond to it in a moral capacity because we have the means to do so. So we talked a little bit about the Summer Canvas and how that is such an incredible example of grassroots advocacy and action and engagement. And we have the ability to send paid canvassers out door to door all around the state to talk about this stuff and to inspire action and education in a way that many organizations cannot do. So it's sort of a combination. It's a little bit of what we've always done. It's a little bit of we need to respond, and also we have the ability to respond.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing that VPIRG is really good at, it's movement building. And our summer canvassing operation is all about meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
And if building community is the answer right now, I think we're in a really good place to do it. But folks that are familiar with the VPIRG Canvas, maybe you watched our episode from a couple weeks ago, this campaign's a little different than campaigns of the past. We don't have like a specific policy that we're asking people to sign off on and to advocate for. It's a little more nebulous than that. Let's talk about that.
Okay, yeah. So it's nebulous in the sense that it's ever changing, right? We are sort of responding to what's happening on a weekly, if not daily basis with the federal administration. So that's a little bit different. And the sort of associated actions change too. Maybe one week there's a particular event that we're plugging at the door. Maybe it is a very specific action that we want somebody to take, or it's an educational resource. These things are ever evolving. And so we are keeping folks as up to date as humanly possible. I will also just speak from a metric standpoint because I think it's very interesting. So we currently have hired on over 60 paid youth canvassers.
That's impressive.
That's a lot of people.
Yes.
That's a huge staff considering how small our organization is. But I think it speaks to the fact that young people really want to get involved and they want to do something that feels meaningful. The fact that it was not very difficult to recruit 60 individuals, I think is a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to mention that. I also want to say that at this point, it is August 6th. We still have plenty of summer left, but already we have knocked over 67,000 doors.
That's crazy. As somebody who's a former VPIRG summer canvasser, that's a really, to be at that number at this part of the summer is just
There's a lot
incredible.
of summer left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so going back to the fact that this is a mobilization campaign, at least for now, we set out this goal of getting 10,000 signatures, right? 10,000 new activists to sign on to this pledge to defend our democracy. And that would keep them tapped into all of the things that we've been talking about, right? Events, resources, actions.
Yeah. 10,000 is a lofty goal for any summer canvas.
Yeah, especially for Vermont, right?
Yeah.
We're a small state. So 10,000 is a big deal. So again, it's August 6th, and we have just surpassed 13,000.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So again, I think reiterating the fact that there is a real appetite for this work. It's not just the young people going out knocking doors. It's also the people on the other end of the door who are really responsive to this campaign and want to take action and respond again to the federal administration and all of the attacks that are coming down. So I think it's different in a lot of ways from previous canvases. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. I've been personally blown away by just the sheer amount of messages that we get in our email inbox of people describing the positive, experience they had with a canvasser. I remember we got an email, or maybe it was somebody posted on Front Porch Forum, actually, just being ecstatic over the fact that Gen Z is out there knocking on doors. And I think it really speaks to, this thing that we keep coming back to, that apathy here is the enemy. And Democracy Summer gives people a way to stay engaged.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like we'll probably continue to talk about apathy, but I also feel like it's important to mention that we need to continue to do this work, because if the alternative is to become apathetic and to simply just let everything happen to us, that is what gives fascists and fascist regimes control over our country. So we need to be intentional and diligent and responsive, because if we do not, then we lose and democracy dies.
That's a scary thought.
It's a scary thought, but it's a true thought. And hopefully maybe that inspires some change, right? If someone was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just let it be, why in Vermont should I care? Maybe thinking about it from that lens might change your perspective. And we have a real need to act. And
we're seeing direct impacts in Vermont. If you've watched our past episodes on the ICE detentions of Mosen Madawi and other Columbia students, and the attacks on the migrant community, Vermont is not removed from this, creeping rise of fascism. We are actually right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge misconception. There are a lot of misconceptions about Vermont, like we're too small to matter, or things don't affect us here. I mean, climate as well. People seem to think that we are in a safe little bubble, but we have also been flooded years in a row now.
Same day. So we are not immune to the things that are happening in other parts of the country. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you can hear it in our voices right now. We're filming this right when the sky is like red from wildfire smoke from Canada.
Yes.
So we're certainly not immune to the climate impacts and just everything else going on in Vermont.
The wildfire vocal fry is a thing.
Big time.
We walked outside for lunch earlier, and I feel it in my throat.
Yes.
So.
Well, we'll get through the rest of this, I hope. With that said, summer's almost over, but it's not quite over yet. What's next for Democracy Summer?
Well, we're going to continue protesting, and I would love to just highlight a few of those really quickly before I talk more about what comes next.
Please, it's your show.
Okay, great. So you remember the Hands Off rally?
Do I ever?
Yeah. So this was back in April, and from my view, this was sort of the first large-scale event in a series of many, right? We've gotten a lot more consistent with regular protests, rallying, days of action, what have you. But I feel like Hands Off is where we sort of got our footing within this recent movement.
Mhm.
Okay, so back in April, the Vermont participation percentages for that rally came in at 3.5%.
Mhm. Why is that number significant?
It's very significant because if you follow Chenoweth's research, who is a political scientist hailing from Harvard, you know that that 3.5% number or percentage of a population is what is necessary to create social and political change. So if you think about it through that perspective, we sort of have the percentages that we need here in Vermont to instill real, meaningful change, to move the needle forward.
So if we can get 3.5% of the population in the street visible, that's what drives change.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so first shot, the hands-off rally, we hit that number, which is not common. You're not going to find that in many other states. But what I find to be even more fascinating / inspiring, amazing, incredible is that a few months later in June at the No Kings Day rally, you remember that? We were there.
Do I ever?
Yes. So the Vermont percentage of participation for that rally came in at nearly 6%. So in just a few months' time, we nearly doubled our state's participation level.
Yeah.
Across 2 protests. And what I think is even more exciting is that we're not done. So we're talking about what's next. There's going to be more protests. We know that there will be a Labor Day rally held in Burlington. There's going to be more information on that soon, so folks can stay tuned. But it's not just about the protest, right? It's a lot of the continued actions that go far beyond that. It could show up as a honkin' wave or another chalk the walk, more trainings and virtual webinars. There's going to be a lot more of literally everything. And so that excites me, and continued collaboration with a lot of incredible partners. So I think what's really valuable is that we are not replicating the work, but we are bringing what we have to the table, and we are coming to agreements on many things, and we're also working separately, right? So VPIRG's really great at the summer canvas and hosting community events and things of that nature. There are other groups that are really great with particular trainings or non-compliance actions, and we're going to continue to see just a full variety of what we can do in the state. Democracy Summer will be making a pivot this fall. It will be sort of phase 2 of this campaign. I'm not going to give any of those wonderful details away right now.
Spoilers.
No spoilers yet. But in the coming weeks, folks will hear more about what they can expect. Those 10, well, now 13,000 new activists on our list are going to hear first what that means and how they can help transition with us. But it's really exciting stuff. The work is not ending anytime soon.
That is so great to hear.
Yeah.
And again, movement building to fight apathy.
Yes.
Love
yes.
it. So you've mentioned all these great things coming up. How can people get involved?
Yes. So I think the first most obvious thing to do would be to learn more about what we're doing, to get on our mailing list, perhaps. You can go to vpirg.org or democracysummervt.org. You can follow us on social media. All the typical way. You can keep listening to this podcast and all of the other great content that we will continue to put out. There's going to be upcoming actions. Like I said, there will be a protest / rally happening on Labor Day. So that's not far from now. It's a few weeks away. And there will be other organizing opportunities as well. So stay tuned. We will announce them as we have been doing every single week through our Democracy Summer Digest email.
Yes, that's a great email series. If you're not on VPIRG's mailing list yet, get on there. And we'll, of course, have links to all of this in the description box below.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So to close this out, do you have any advice for others, for our listeners, on just how to get by during these dark times?
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I think I maybe mentioned this briefly, but the importance of taking care of yourself and resting and knowing that you cannot pour out of an empty cup, right? So it can feel counterintuitive or frankly bad to take that rest and to spark joy in times that feel so devastating. But I know for me, if I don't take that time for myself, I'm going to burn out and I am not going to be able to show up with my best self and to do this work every single day. So while it may feel kind of weird to say, oh, I'm going to take some rest or I'm going to go do this fun thing, despite the fact that I have this other list of things that I should maybe do today, It's really important to check in with yourself in that way. I think also it's really important to celebrate small victories and small wins because those happen a lot more than we maybe give credit to.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it matters. All of the work that we're doing right now, it matters and in a profound way that we may not even be able to understand right now. So taking that for what it is, finding the gratitude where you can, because it can be hard to come by and it can be so easy to get sucked into this like dark hole of bad news. But when you look more closely, you'll find that we are doing a lot of really good work, and I would not want to be doing anything else. So
for sure. Well, I think I can't think of any better place to leave it.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much for all the work you're doing, Jordan. I'm so excited to see what happens next.
Yay, me too.
And again, we'll have all those links in the description below. Thanks.
Thank you. And that's our season. Thank you so much for watching. Eli?
Yeah, if you want to get more involved in the Democracy Summer Campaign, like we said, visit the links below. If you want to financially support the Democracy Summer Campaign and get some really cool merch, we do have t-shirts for sale at www.vperg.store. We'll also have a link to that in the description below as well. Comes in 2 colors. I'm wearing one of them. But yeah.
I have both colors.
Yeah, great shirts.
And as I say all the time, do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. If you have questions, ideas, thoughts for future episodes and next season, let me know at jheiden@vperg.org. That's JHEIDEN@vpirg.org. As always, a very special thank you to my co-producer, Elijah Kushen. I'm Jordan Heiden, and you've been listening to Vermont's Voice. Thank you so much. Take care and talk soon.